in here, and it doesn't escape that it's Friday afternoon. So, with that in mind, I think the purpose of this call today, Phil, and I mean, tell me if you want to add something with it to it, or subtract anything from it. Is number one is to try to kind of get a feel of how the trial is going. If you run into any issues that we might be able to address straight away. And then number two, of course, could kind of get a better idea, or maybe a more detailed idea of your use case and who you're going to be presenting this to, and things of that sort. And just so that Junaid could maybe touch on some things that might be, or tailor the demonstration that we talked about earlier towards that. And then, of course, do the deep dive that we talked about. Just kind of look under the hood here and make sure that you're not missing any features and benefits that might be beneficial to your specific client in that use case. And does that sound pretty accurate to you?
Yeah, that is a good overview.
Great.
Just to kind of dive in here, I did have some time to play around with the product, not as much as I would like, because as we all know, things come up and stuff has to get pushed back. In our specific,
I want to thank you also. Excuse me for interrupting, but thank you for providing the information for us to get into your environment. I think
definitely,
that was quite helpful, Junaid. Yeah,
pleasure's all mine. For the most part, what we're trying to do here is just kind of understand what your product has in terms of features and functionality, and how that translates into a user experience for a marketing team, essentially. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Okay. And this is for a specific client of yours. Is that correct, or is it, you're looking at this in more of a wide scope?
We're actually looking at this more in a wide scope than for our specific client. So this is something we'll be looking at in the future if we have clients that need a full-blown marketing system.
Great. Okay. Junaid, does that help?
Yeah, and thanks, Phil, for that. And for this current client, can you shed some light? Like, have they been using some other platform in the past in conjunction with Salesforce? And
in the past, they've actually been on the Dynamics 365 system, and what they used in the past was kind of like Click Dimensions. Have you heard of that or messed around with Click Dimensions before?
Yeah, I've looked them up a couple of times. So with Click Dimensions, any roadblocks that you heard from them, or any challenges in the past? Any idea on that?
Phil, I think what we're trying to get to is, MakesBridge, and we're a very big platform. It runs from being a very simple MailChimp-esque kind of campaigning tool, all the way to being more of a full-blown marketing automation, like a Marketo, Eloqua kind of tool. So I think what we want to try to do is just perhaps cover off some of the fundamentals, which could just be email creation, image hosting, that user experience, creating targets, how that's done. That's sort of like lower level, email marketing 101 type capabilities. Then from there, the next step above is, for example, if the client is interested in being able to alert sales reps when certain activities happen, or if scores are reached, or even set up, again, like a set of nurture drifts. So there are a lot of different layers and ways to approach it, that it looks like we lost Phil.
Did we? Yeah.
I think so.
Well, wow, I just kind of just was talking there.
You're not alone. I do it all the time.
That's kind of the critical thing. That's one of the concerns I had about, well, not a concern, but just one of the things I wanted to make sure that we, kicked off with, because we could spend hours talking about the wrong things. And it's like, and Junaid, by the way, really good teeing that up. It's like, what are some of the specific pain points they want to address so we can really focus on those first.
Sure.
So hopefully we can get Phil back on the line here. And Junaid, I'll be quiet after that. I'll let you and Steve kind of work it, but based on what I said, hopefully you can, try to get a little bit of a framing and structure to what will be covered. But again, good start there, by the way.
Sure thing.
I'll go on mute now.
Yeah, Phil is getting back on the call.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I seem to
Was it something we said, Phil?
No, our internet completely dropped for a couple minutes. Our UPC
Oh,
went
wow.
down. Yeah, so that was fun. Sorry about that, guys.
No worries. Yeah, so go ahead, Junaid. And I think what he's getting at, Phil, is there's so many use cases or possibilities with this that we want to make sure that we're addressing the proper things. So if you could pinpoint some areas that you're familiar with as it relates to either pain points or known issues or desires, then Junaid
essentially, we got a pretty general overview of what the client wants. Is they want a marketing suite that kind of does all the standard marketing bits and kind of have a that has a fluid interaction with Salesforce in terms of how it displays information and how it interacts, and that's kind of what we're looking for right now.
Sure thing.
Very good. Does that make sense?
Yep. So great. I think I'll just take from here, Phil, and feel free to stop me if you have any questions. So the way I'm going to start this demonstration today, I'm going to start from your environment that was provided to us yesterday. So Stephen told me that about the licensing part. So wanted to make sure that we are fully functional from your environment. So there might be a couple of items for which I might be changing the account, but most of the time I'll try to stay in your environment as much as possible.
Sure.
Okay. Alrighty. So the first part of the integration is, once you install our app from the App Exchange, so there's like one-time setup that we help you with. Once it's dialed in, so the first part is being able to launch MakeSpread right from within your Salesforce. So the benefit of this is that you or the marketing team, they don't have to leave the Salesforce org in order to do their marketing efforts. That's often that's the big concern we hear, that we don't want to leave Salesforce, or we don't want to work with simultaneously with two applications. We want to stay in Salesforce while doing our marketing stuff. So that's done. This is how the app loads from within Salesforce. Then there are two ways to navigate this app. One, via these tiles, can expand these tiles, or second, from the top left corner, it's more like a list menu here. Okay. I'll now go further into the Salesforce integration. So I'll focus on what our Salesforce integration looks like and where it's residing in the platform. So I'm expanding first steps tile. I'm going to click on connect with apps. That's going to bring up like all the apps that we have integration with. So Salesforce is obviously our number one. Alrighty, so in order to make a connection, Phil, it's just connecting your Salesforce account with the MakeSpread account, and once you test it, so both the apps gets connected, and that's where we instantly start seeing your custom fields for both leads and contacts. But again, in your case, I know that you guys are working with the contacts object, so no problems there. We are fully seeing all the custom fields coming off of your contacts object here. Okay, so I've already mapped all the fields. Now, speaking of Salesforce integration, Phil, we typically just to keep things simple, we divide this into two parts. A, how data flows from Salesforce to MakeSbridge, and B, um, how do we write the post-campaign activities that is from MakeSbridge to Salesforce. So I'll start with the first one, that is the data syncing, that how data flows from Salesforce to MakeSbridge. It's a three-stage process, by the way. So we go into the imports, and I'm just gonna add one import. I'm just gonna give you a quick overview. So when I say three-stage process, here what it is, number one, you create a list. So we'll be having a master list that's gonna contain all the contacts. On the next stage, we're gonna have what object you want to pull from. So we will obviously have the contacts listed there. And finally, reaching to the last screen where it's going to fetch some counts from the Salesforce, and it's going to display like, X number of contacts are going to come into your master list. Okay.
Mhm.
So this is one time. Now the question comes up, like, how do we make sure the new contacts are going to come in via form or via manual entries? How are we going to sync them at MakeSbridge? To answer that, we have our peering module here at the top. What this peering does, Will, that you can activate it for only contacts, and the minimum frequency we have is the 30 minutes. So every 30 minutes, we're going to sync with your Salesforce. We're going to look for any newly added contacts. If we find some, we will auto import them into the chosen list of yours. And for the existing contacts, if their custom fields are being updated, again, those updates could be a result of a form submission, or a rep just got off the phone and updating some statuses in the custom fields. However, those custom fields are being changed, we will reflect those changes at MakeSbridge within the next 30 minutes time span.
Okay.
So that constant sync of 30 minutes 24/7 keeps on happening for you, and that sets the base of those automated triggers or the alerts, because as far as data is synced between the two systems, then literally you can trigger anything based on that mechanism.
Okay.
Right, so that concludes the first part of integration, like how data flows from Salesforce to MakeSbridge. Before I go into the marketing stuff, I just want to quickly cover like the second part of like what do we give you in Salesforce. So I don't have much info in this account, but I'd be happy to kind of share what we have or what it's going to look like. So this is a contact in this environment. So we display information in two ways. A, we have our the activity timeline that's specially designed for sales, and here it's here at the bottom. For some reason, I lost the horizontal scroller here. It was there yesterday, but just to give you an idea of how it's going to look like, I'll have to make some adjustments here. So this.
Is it?
Mhm.
Sorry, did you not use two columns when setting that up? That might be why it looks so compact here.
The setting is
Right.
actually one column top to down.
One
So
column?
yeah, setting is correct. I think
Okay.
yeah. So just need to. I mean, yesterday it was fine. It was looking fine here. Like
Mhm.
this section as well as the other section, like the activities section. This one, it was displayed
Okay.
properly. So, but I'm just giving you a comparison, like how this thing is going to look like in the Lightning version. That it's going to have this basic information plus the total activities. So for each contact that have been part of any campaign or form submission, we will display the activities here. So what sort of activities we store here? Here's a quick summary. So from email sent to open, click, website visits, any conversions happening off of some pages, bounces. So all that information for that particular individual gets stored onto this activity timeline. Again, this activity timeline is a great tool for sales reps to kind of read the behavior of this particular contact, like what they have been reading or where they have been engaging. And if you're using, or I must say, I always advise that we must use the lead scoring mechanism. So the total score here is a big indicator that how much this person is engaging with your marketing material. Not only that, a rep can literally see point by point like how this person reached that score of 35 by going to the advanced filter and uncheck everything, check only the score change and filter, and that's where this lady has been getting multiple scores of 5, getting her here on total score of 35. Few more items here on the activity timeline is the ability to send one-to-one email. So this is trackable. Sometimes prospects go dark; they don't reply to your general Outlook email. So this is a great trick that we advise reps to use. We use this ourselves as well, just to see that if the person is still in play.
Okay.
Now, if I just scroll down a little bit more, so this is an iframe that came up from MakeSpread, but we have another way of storing activities. We have our own related list items. That's going to give you information more like Salesforce way. So here I'm back in your Lightning version, by the way. So it's called BMS Contact History. If I click that, you would notice that for each contact we will have this object as well, which is going to be more like Salesforce way of storing the post-campaign activities. Like if the campaign was opened, it's going to be ticked. If something was clicked, so what links were clicked, we will display those links here in this area.
Very cool.
Perfect. So yeah, that's that concludes the second part of the integration. Like, what do we provide you, in terms of post-campaign activities from MakeSpread to Salesforce? Do you have any questions so far?
Yes. Do you have something like a lead scoring thing that is visibly displayed within Salesforce, or do I have to add a custom field for that to show up during the sync process?
Yeah. So we have what we call a field for that available in Salesforce, and yeah, I didn't add that one there. But see here in your environment, I didn't dial that in. But this is how it looks like. It's called MKS Lead Score. So the total score will be written back to Salesforce natively, just like that.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Hey, Phil, and I don't know if this is a consideration, but when we're looking at all the data we load, all the score increases, the opens, the clicks, the form submissions, all that, all the breadcrumbs, if you will, of the journey. One of the key wins for clients in that is it minimizes the amount of Salesforce storage space. In our experience, it's like the number one sort of FAQ, like how do I turn off all this native sort of activity writing to Salesforce? It's consuming gobs of data storage and is expensive. So that's one consideration. Again, I don't know if you guys bump into that very often.
Not as often as you would think, because they usually have like kind of integrations with different storage providers. So that tends not to be an issue, but we occasionally do run into an issue like that where storage space is at a premium.
Okay. Sorry, Junaid.
No worries, all good. All right, Phil. So this is the last part here, the export part. So most of the people ask us, how do we handle the opt-outs? In conjunction with Salesforce. So we simply need to activate the export feature from here. So what it does, that anyone opt-outs via MakeSpread campaigns will tick the standard Salesforce opt-out box for you back in Salesforce. Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, that was about the integration. Now I know we have. I think you guys have already tested a little bit about the segmentation the other day when I got on the call. So I'll just spend very little on the targets or the segmentation. because obviously once you have the integration in place, you import your data into the list. The next step is obviously to create some smart listing based on that big list. So if you have a list of, like, let's say 5,000 contacts, I'm going to edit one of the existing what we call targets here. So you have like multiple options when it comes to our data segmentation tool. So you can do segmentation. This is something you guys already tried based on a data attribute. So that's one where you just need to pick up the field and define its value to get the people into that segment. The additional items that I just wanted to give you a quick overview, that we have email activity filter, where you can just get all your email openers, email clickers, or the non-clickers into a smart list. Could be on any campaign or a specific campaign that you can define here. We have website actions filter here. So we provide you with a tracking snippet, which if it's in your website or client's website, then what we could do for you is that we can grab last 30-day website visitors who have visited your website maybe 1 or more times or 5 or more times. I would say that would be a perfect target to kind of re-engage or send an alert to the reps about. Okay. Lead score, that's there. Of course, this comes handy when you have lead score running, and at a certain score, you want to kind of grab people up for some auto trigger or feed to the reps. Maybe give me everyone who has reached a score of 100 or more. That kind of stuff, you can take care using our lead score filter in the targets. So targets are going to be playing a big role into your client's marketing, because everything is going to be based on target. That's why I'm spending a little bit time on the target, because every row that makes rich is going to start off with target.
Right.
So cool. Right. So that's that. Those are
for data segmentation. Is it based off of individual lists, or does it search across all your lists?
It search across all your lists. So
Okay.
yeah, unless you want to be list specific. So in your client's case, what's going to happen is that we're going to have one master list. This is how we typically work with the clients or the onboarding. So we have one master list that contains all of your contacts. So which means when you're running a query here, it's ultimately looking into your master list.
Right.
Which means one list, but that has all of your contacts from Salesforce.
Okay.
Okay.
There is another sort, which if you see the tag icon, where that's useful is, and Junaid's going to get into some of the automation that we have, that we do auto tagging, which is really handy for putting people in different buckets in real time. So for example, for us, the way we use it is, if we know that if anyone clicks on an email and they visit our Google deliverability page, we can automatically tag them as being interested in deliverability. So whenever the time comes for us to do a blog or just do a communication on that topic, we just use that tag
Right.
for that mass email. And then obviously you can do a nurture drip. Like as soon as we tag them as interested in deliverability, they can be automatically added into a nurture track. So there's a little bit of background on that.
Yeah, pretty
Thanks, Junaid. Sorry again.
All good. Perfect. Alrighty. So now we have our lists and our targets. It's obviously time to proceed a step further. That is, what do we have in terms of creatives or the templates? So Phil, for that part, we have library of built-in templates that's available to you or the clients. All of these templates, they can be customized, the way you want to. So there's like a huge library. I just scrolled a little bit more down, so they're still loading. Okay, so that's those are your templates. You can, if you have yours previously that the client have been using previously, those can be stored here as well, so no problem. Okay, so that's the template gallery. The next step here would be using that template in a campaign. How do we use that template in a campaign? Well, for that, we start with a mass email creation mode. So this is a very basic, part the platform, how do you go about creating a mass email campaign? So I'm just gonna create this here, name it mass email. It's a 4-stage process again. It begins with the settings part. So the header information, the subject line, the from email, from name, reply to email address. Phil, these could be static or these could be dynamic. And what I meant by that is if I just need to merge any of my field, let's say here, I'm just going to merge in the first name, hi first name. So for your client, not only they can merge in like the first name, they can also merge in anything from the Salesforce custom fields into the subject line. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Other than that, the from email, from name, reply to email address, this can go on behalf of the Salesforce owners, which means you can merge in your sales rep info into these fields. So that's what I meant by being this dynamic. So it could not be only info@yourcompany.com, but this could go based on the Salesforce owners as well. Okay. Moving on to the next part. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview of like what are the flavors here for the email creation part. We've seen the templates already. Then we have our easy editor. This is literally a drag and drop environment where you have content blocks that help you create template quickly if you don't have one. So you go by just dropping these blocks here, and you can make edits as you go down the road. So remove some of the pictures if you don't want images there, just like that. So your image, we host images for you, so we provide you a big image library. So obviously it's going to be empty in the beginning, but you can this can be this can have images over time, so you can upload as many images as you want to.
Okay, definitely. Do we have a storage limit on how much creatives we can store within MixBridge?
I think there's a limit of. I think we do have a limit though. Yeah, I'll just need to confirm that. But
No worries.
In terms of total megabytes stored, we're pretty liberal with that.
yeah,
We'll look back and see what that is. But I think,
occasionally we have people that just love to not optimize their images and just upload like a few megabyte for a picture. And
Phil, that's not a good practice, If
it really isn't. We usually advise against it.
Yeah.
But some people like doing stuff like that.
I mean, I'm not talking about from the perspective of MixBridge storage. I mean, that's not a bad practice.
No, in general practice, it's bad practice.
So it's gonna take more time to load the images on the recipient's end, and for the larger images are certainly not best suited for the templates. So in any case, it's not a good practice. Sorry, Jay, you were going to say something.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's like I mean they can load them, and then it's kind of a with the caveat of like what the experience is going to be. And I think one of the keys is just user education. I'm sure you guys do make a lot of efforts along those lines, and that's part of what we do as well. Where if we're in partnership, we can hold regular web seminars on the topic and do our best to try to educate people on the pros and cons, if we run into these things. But we can tick that box, they'll be able to load, what they need to. Junaid, I think there may be some limitation on the format type that we provide. But it does, PNG, JPEG, all that is taken care of.
As long as the generals are covered, that's fine, because a lot of email applications, they have a limit on what kind of images they're willing to display anyways. So I don't think that would be an issue.
Okay. Sure. Cool. So back to the editor. So again, the drag and drop functionality, the content blocks are pre-made for you. There's just one advanced item I just want to quickly cover, and that is our ability to do the dynamic content blocks. So Phil, oftentimes, you don't want to send, you want to send literally specific content to specific audience, and for that, sometimes you need to do multiple emails. With our content blocks here, what you could really do is you can define again your criteria based on Salesforce fields. Okay, could be multiple fields here, or again, as we have gone through these filters, they are also there. However, you want to define your audience, and then what you could do is that you can have different pieces of contents going into each option right there.
Okay. So let's just say one's commercial real estate and the other's just for residential real estate. You could have
Correct.
kind of a blurb for each of these individual ones without having to create a completely new email. Is that correct?
Exactly. That's right.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So that's our dynamic content block, ability that's there into the system. And the cool part is that this will be saved, so you can use it over and over, or make some changes and save it back over here. So think of it like having kind of like your own template library here. So we saw the
Mhm.
built-in template library. So for out of these blocks, you can create your own sort of template library as well. Could be a dynamic content block or my building block that you can use over and over. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So yeah, that's the easy editor. Again, we do have the HTML editor, the good old WYSIWYG editor. Hand code HTML is also an option in plain text over there. We move to the next stage. This is where you're going to choose the recipient. It could be your whole list, or it could be your targets, so the smart list. So I would definitely go for smaller lists. Obviously going to make the most sense here, and then we choose the list, and then finally move to the very last screen that is going to be sending out this campaign. Okay, so you can send it instantly or schedule it for the future.
Okay.
So yeah, once this goes out, then this is our standard report that we're gonna provide you. Again, this has just one record. I might need to switch, the instance here. So just give me a moment. So because this guy, they won't be having the website visits, I just want to cover that part because that's really important. So yeah, I'm loading one on the other instance.
Phil, while we're waiting for that, is there any, B2B nature of the in outreach, sales outreach that the client is doing? Because we do have some features that, that help our customers get more value out of not only their email marketing, but also display advertising and other digital advertising.
Yes, we do have some B2B interaction for our clients when they send out these emails, but it's usually a small subsegment of our audience that's currently doing that.
Okay.
But I would still like to see
see
those features if we have time for in this call.
Sinead, I was referring to the account-based marketing where we sniff the companies that are visiting. That may be something really helpful.
Sure.
Yeah, if we have enough time. Thanks.
Sure thing.
Yeah, if not, you could just shoot me to where the tutorial video is, and I can just take a peek at it.
Sounds good. All right, so the report actually is going to display you the openers, the clickers, and once somebody clicks via the email, we cookie them, and then if they start browsing some other pages on your website, we store that under page views here.
Okay.
Okay. Alrighty, that was about the mass email and its report. And by the way, that's our standard report that's going to be available for all your marketing efforts. Quick overview: like MakeSbridge provides sign up forms that can be embedded onto your website. Also, we provide the landing pages that can go out to with your email, and we host these landing pages for you. Pretty interactive. We can embed videos, animated graphics, the sign-up form onto our landing pages for sure. Okay. Righty. Let's just talk a little bit about the automation part now. So we have three levels of automation, Phil. We've got our basic automation, we have our moderate automation, we call it nurture tracks, and finally we have our advanced automation, it's called workflow. So I'm sure you must have heard of the term trees and branches, or if for else based, condition-based workflows, that's what we
Hmm.
have there.
Okay.
So I mean, most of the times, or very easy to use, like people that are just getting started with the automation, our Autobots, they does a great job for them. So we have like four guys over here. Each of them, they have a unique job. So email bot, it again, as far as you have the target at the back, or the criteria defined, it can perform its action. Thank you email, welcome email, cancellation confirmation, that sort of stuff. It can do for you, can send recurring emails for you as well. um, Tag bot. So Jay had mentioned about being able to tag automatically on certain actions. This is what how we go about it. So we use our tag bot. Again, need to have a criteria behind it, like anyone who's opening our email or clicking two or more links, something like that, is tag them as a hot prospect. So this is how that happens. Then we have the alert bot. So our alerts, they can be set up again. You could have any target running behind it. You can alert the record owner or the Salesforce owner, as well as additional people with that alert. And how that alert looks like in real life, it actually sends an email to us. So the email goes into the inbox, and that's where we can see some information, like if somebody has signed up for the trial. So send the information, or and attach some information that are needed by the rep. So for example, this is how it's working in real time. Um, so we have these data points right there: first name, last name, company, phone number, current tool. How we're getting this information, because during the trial sign-up process, the user provides this info to us. So based on that form submission, we get an alert where we could see like all the information about this trial, so we can do instant follow-up. Similarly for you guys, when you visited us on the App Exchange, we got an instant alert, and that alert again was sent to us via that alert bot we just saw in this form. Okay.
Okay.
Scoring mechanism. So we talked about a little bit about the lead scoring. So this is the guy responsible for scoring records based on different behaviors or data attributes. Could be anything, and we can define points, like how many points it needs to attach to a record. So that's where the scorebot comes in.
All right.
Okay. Any questions so far before I
Nope.
move on?
Looks pretty straightforward here for the most part.
Cool. Alrighty. Then we have our second automation that is, a bit advanced. The moderate automation, we call it nurture tracks. Uh, and Phil, you need to just give me a moment one more time. I just need to switch the instance. My session was expired. So one moment.
Yeah, no problem.
Just one more moment. Okay, I'm there. Hope you can still see my screen moving.
Yep, I can see it.
All right, so I'm just gonna start with this one. Why? This has a little bit data here. So new leads drip. Similarly, we can create drip for the contact. So what really happens here is that again we need to have the target sitting at the top as recipient. So whatever criteria you define this program for, then you can have like multiple email messages here in this drip stream. And as you can see that each message is being separated by a wait step. So that's exactly what a drip is meant to do for you. So as soon as somebody meets the criteria, the first email goes out. Then wait for 10 days or 2 days, whatever you want to define there. The second email goes out, and so you can have as many wait steps and messages here in one drip as you want. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. Let me just quickly recap from the start. Like, we have the Salesforce integration running every 30 minutes. We're syncing with contacts. And then we have targets in place. So as soon as 30-minute sync happens, it brings in new contacts. The target on the next phase picks up, newly met contacts, or drops people who no longer meets the criteria. And then if that target is being used in a drip campaign, obviously those people start on a drip campaign accordingly. So this is how, what I meant in the beginning, like this, the backbone is going to be the targets and that constant syncing of 30 minutes when it comes to
Yeah.
the automation.
Yeah, completely makes sense.
Sure thing. So yeah, again, people who no longer going to meet the criteria, they'll be stopped at any message they were, so they will not be moving forward. So that's our drip campaign. And then how it works in terms of what we call the reporting. So for each message, here's a quick overview that we will be providing to the marketer or the main person that, hey, X amount of emails were sent, opens, click, the page views. So this is like how each message is working for you. That's there. And then if somebody would want to, go a step further, then they can click on the pie chart to go to the actual report of like who are the people behind these counts, right?
Okay.
Perfect. So yeah, that was just a general overview of the nurture tracks. Like, what are the nurture tracks? How do they work? Pick up people, drop people. So that's more like general overview. Um, few last items that I would just quickly want to touch upon is the contact management area. Again, this is something designed for sales. Where they can just use this dashboard to kind of look people up and their activities. So sales reps, if you have these for the sales reps, they will be just looking at their records or the contacts that they own under Salesforce. Okay. It's very similar to what we saw in Salesforce, but here it's just like a consolidated view of everybody sorted by their recent most activities. So yeah, the activities are there. And then here are some of the tags examples. These are this is an this was a tag that was attached automatically, but you also have the ability to add a tag manually over here. The reps can kind of add some tasks for themselves here, add some notes here, and that's the contact management area that they can use as their digital call list. Okay.
Okay. So none of this for like the tasks. Does any of that translate into the actual tasks within Salesforce, or is it just all within the MakeSbridge iframe that we have?
So this is going to be in MakeSbridge iframe. This
Okay.
does not go into the Salesforce part. Yeah. So this client
primarily designed product, around like some B2B applications where they're not wanting to, again, getting back to that storage issue, Phil. And just want to have a lot of the agility and power of like a pre-funnel, the pre-funnel phase, the prospect development phase. So that's what we were seeking to accomplish with that feature.
Yeah, I definitely understand that.
Cool.
Sure. Right. So again, but we have another unique tool that's going to be available there, and that is managing kind of your CRM right from the inbox. So we have seen so far being able to see activities from within Salesforce or via the contact management tab. This is another cool tool that's going to be available for the client. So what it does, Phil, that as soon as you load an email, it automatically parses all the email addresses to the right side. Okay. And I can click on the person's name there. I'm not sure why I'm getting session expires here.
Maybe you were on incognito on the other window.
I might have been logged in, Junaid.
There
Sorry.
we go. Okay. Okay. All right.
Anything I
So,
can do to destroy your demo.
all right. So what I was going to display quickly, Phil, that the sales assistant tool, what it does, you don't need to be logged into your Salesforce or MakeSbridge, contact management area. This is something you're scrolling through your email, and this is something we do, every day, all the time, checking the email. So this little widget is going to float along, and if there's a reply or an alert that comes to me that I need to follow up, I can quickly look at the same activities we were looking via Salesforce.
Okay.
See, so all that information is available right here. And another cool thing is that, if I need to kind of quickly update some field at Salesforce, and I don't really need to go to Salesforce, because all these custom fields, I can edit them right from this widget, make changes, whatever changes I want to make to these custom fields, okay, and hit that one button here, update the fields to Salesforce. So it's going to actually update this record in Salesforce, whatever information I'm putting here. So that's really cool here. That's one thing. The other is, we can set up some drip campaigns for the reps where, they can simply attach a tag from here, interested prospect, for example. So based on if somebody's interest is tagged as interested prospect, based on that tag, we can automatically put them into a nurture track. Okay.
Okay.
So there are many things that we can use, or a rep can perform using this sales assistant. Again, the activities here, the cool part about these tasks here is that as you create these tasks, they automatically goes either to your Google Calendar or the Outlook calendar syncing is coming up, so that you get a reminder whenever this task is due for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
So I know that I think you guys have like the Salesforce. I think that's what Wes was saying. You've got a Salesforce inbox widget as well.
Yeah, it's called Lightning for Outlook, and
Okay.
it does some of what MakeSbridge does, but just for the Salesforce environment specifically.
Okay.
And it doesn't do it.
So yeah, as we go down the road together in partnership, hopefully, if we're finding use cases where that doesn't fit, or again, if it's more of a B2B, because, again, like the pre-funnel marketing and keeping CRM clean, that modality.
Yeah, definitely.
That may be a decent fit for you.
Okay.
Cool. Last part here. So I just want to quickly go over the BridgeStat feature. So Jay, that's something which you just mentioned. It was already there on the plan. The company is visiting us part. So well, we have we provide you a tracking snippet, and what it does actually, that I'm sure you're familiar with Google Analytics and all that, but there's only one drawback, that Google doesn't tell you, or doesn't decipher the actual company names. This is a process that we follow every day, and most of our customers, they're getting really big benefit out of this. What this does is that we not only track the anonymous traffic hitting your website, but we also decipher the company names. So and we kind of let you see how many past visits they have performed, how many page views they have done today, somebody from this company, obviously. And the way we connect with them, there are a few ways we can go about it. And the process we follow, again, every day, is we make connections with people in this company. So we have further integration with LinkedIn. As soon as I click on LinkedIn, this is going to take me to the LinkedIn profile of this company, where I can just look up contacts of this particular company, and I can start making some connections. And what we typically do is, like, we do say, like, hey, we know somebody from CIO Review visited MakeSbridge, and saw 3 pages of ours, and we can actually see what pages they have been on. I know you are looking for a better email marketing solution, because that's our product. So we know they're out there and looking for some email marketing solution. So can we talk, or can you connect us, point us into the right direction? And that's where things start happening, and we start talking to people who are actually out there and looking for our solution. So this is a huge plus, where you can just keep a constant eye on these people that are hitting your website. They're not your customer, but these guys are definitely checking you out. And then those which you think that, they're a good fit, or the client thinks they're a good fit, you can send the information in Salesforce with just one push. So just send them into Salesforce, and then take it from there.
Okay, that's actually really neat.
Yep.
It's
And
something you can tell that UI is a bit different. It's a product we OEM from Kickfire, so obviously we have it tucked in within our platform to try to deliver something that's end to end.
Yeah, I can definitely see that you guys put a lot of thought into this.
cool. And I once had a call with Google Analytics Guru, and he just wanted to compare this product with Google Analytics, and pretty much everything what he found here was what he was already using. The only comment he made was like, what he wished was there in the Google Analytics is the history part. So this tool right there, it keeps a very long history, years of history inside it, versus Google only keeps 1 year history. So that's again a huge plus, which means all the companies that have visited me last 6 months ago, 3 months ago, or 2 years ago, I can actually pull them up here in this tool.
Yeah, that's really neat, because as you can say, 1 year of history is very limiting.
It is,
especially when you're trying to go and see the customer journey or the client journey that's been developing over the years.
That's right. And this thing start keeping the history from the time you place the snippet onto your website till the time you have it. So for our part, like in MakeSpread, I can literally sometime I go back to year 2012 and even 2013, and I can still see data from those years, which is really cool.
Yep, definitely.
Alrighty, Phil, that's all from my side. If you have any questions, or if you want to add something to it, and
no, I really appreciate this demo and everybody's time on this call, because this lets me better understand the product, and just kind of rewiring my mind to how your tools work with others. What really tripped us up initially was the difference between lists and targets, because it looks like where you use lists as a kind of repository for kind of like the master list, or you have some additional data imports that you may just want to keep separate. That's a good way to do it. And then targeting will kind of filter through that and find all the results that you're looking for. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. It gave me a lot of clarity in formulating a response for Wes and the team. Thank you, guys.
sounds good.
A pleasure for sure. And anything else at all that you can think of that you might need at this point?
No, this about covers it. All I have to do is put together something for Wes, and I think we'll go from there. How does that sound?
Well, very good. And as it relates to specific next steps, we know we're kind of getting towards the end of the trial here. So when would be a good follow-up point? And is it you that I should reach out to, or should I just get with Wes?
Wes would probably.
How do you see that?
Wes would probably be a better person to reach out to, as I'm just compiling the research for him, and he makes the actual business decisions.
Would it make sense for you to have another call like this at the beginning of next week, or you think you're good to go?
I think I'm good to go, and unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to attend a call anyways. I'm booked back to back.
I gotcha. So when do you think that you would have your information or presentation ready for Wes, and so that I can kind of target when I can call him?
Probably early Monday, if not early Tuesday. It just depends on how my schedule flows.
Okay, so if I reach out to him and maybe schedule a call with him maybe on Wednesday, that would be a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, that would be a good bet.
Okay, well, very good. Well, if there's nothing else that you have, Phil, I want to thank you very much for your time, and certainly for allowing us access to your environment there.
No
And
problem.
we are of course looking forward to building a long and mutually beneficial relationship with you guys. And so I need to kind of get there and meet you guys in person, and it kind of makes sense if we're all in the same city, right?
Yeah, that'd be nice. Meet you
Very
guys.
good.
Definitely.
All right. Anything else, Jay or Janae?
Nothing from my side.
Very good.
Just
Janae, you got
thanks a lot.
you need anything else from Phil?
I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, thank you guys, each and every one of you, for the time today. And with that, I wish everybody a fantastic weekend, and we'll look forward to circling back around next week.
All right,
Sure
definitely.
thing.
Have a good
Thanks,
one,
everyone.
everybody.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.